So once you save them, where do they go? If you don't have a building and the shelter's full, where do these animals go? And foster homes was our answer. We were able to create a massive foster group, and I'll talk a little bit about that in a minute. Adoption centers, PetSmarts, and some Petcos allow you to house cats permanently, so that can be a home for these animals. So we would put cats, our shelter had a big upper respiratory infection problem, so they would all have to go to foster first, but then after 2 weeks, we would have the foster surrender them and bring them to PetSmart or Petco. So we filled up all the PetSmarts and Petcos that we could find and developed a volunteer group to do the adoptions. And so that's capacity. Unused cages, a lot of shelters have unused cages. That's unused capacity. Creating more cages in creative spaces, using cages more efficiently, that goes back to getting them out faster. Once they've got a live outcome, get them out. They need to get out quickly so that you can save another life. And then creating wards for some of the problems that we'll go over. We had to create separate spaces for these animals, and most of them were in foster homes to begin with, but now that we're big enough to have our own building, we do have wards that deal with these specific problems when there's no foster. So there's urgency. It doesn't matter where the cage is. We call our foster homes cages. They have every foster is allowed to have 2 cages, and that's it. And the idea behind that is that we don't want them to get 10 cages. Everybody wants to come save them. We want them to work really hard to get the ones they have out the door, and then they can save more. So if every little piece has the same urgency to turn that cage over, then you have this massive motion of turning over animals and getting them out quickly. And so everybody, we call it kind of a game of hot potato, because we just want them, we're kind of rushing them to the next stage and then rushing them to adoption. And then as soon as that one's adopted, rushing over to the shelter to save another one and then starting the whole process again. And if you can tie the end goal with the save, again, you motivate people. You motivate people to act faster and to do harder work because they can see who gets saved immediately from the action that just happened over here. So what we found by looking at the euthanasia list, we had no idea going in. This was just a concept. Let's save the animals on the euthanasia list. How bad can it be? And what we found is that there's specific groups of animals that need help, and then there's specific groups of problems. And there's obviously a connection between those. And we found over time that we needed a massive foster program, we needed a very large medical program, a large adoption program, and then programs that didn't exist in our city needed to be created. Again, compartmentalize the work, trust people, and don't be perfect. So foster homes, we've doubled the capacity of our shelter by having foster homes. We have about 700 to 1,000 animals in foster at any one time. And it was only in the last 6 months that we had paid foster coordinators. So fostering is something people love. And we have foster teams of 12 people that coordinate all of these hundreds of foster homes. And they do it all for free. They do it from home. They screen all the fosters. They do applications. They push people to come in for their vaccines. They push people to come in for adoption. They coordinate foster adoptions. They do this massive amount of work, and it's all for free. And that's a way that you can save money in your budget by just creating the place for people to help. So these people, they came out of the woodwork. We didn't go specifically recruit people to do this. We said, this is what we're going to do. Here's the areas we need help with, and they came out of the woodwork and did it. And the same thing, I'm working in San Antonio now too, and the same thing happened in San Antonio. The foster program is our strongest volunteer program, and you can get a lot of people to help with it. You just have to get a good person at the head of it, which happened just happened for us, so I think it's pretty possible anywhere. The foster program challenges, it's all volunteer structure, maintaining the program and managing the growth. I'll show you some slides on our growth in foster. And the program, as it gets bigger, becomes harder. And we have a lot of turnover of foster people, foster parents, and also volunteers. And that's just part of the deal. And I'll show you a slide on that too. It's to be expected. It doesn't mean you're failing. It's just part of the deal. And foster parents, a lot of them adopt their foster, pet. So you lose them right there. And you just have to expect it, thank them for their work, and thank you for saving the life that you fostered, and then move on to trying to recruit the next one that's going to save a life. So we have, this is the total number of animals that entered foster homes per year. And you can see in 2012 that it's a massive number of fosters. And again, the only way that can be maintained is through turnover of the animal going through the foster homes quickly. And if you look at, so that's the total number of animals. That includes foster moves. That's a huge component of the foster coordination team, is when a foster says, oh, this puppy's driving me crazy, I really can't deal with it anymore, where do I drop it off? Then that foster team has to find another foster to take the animal. And that again, it's just part of the deal. A lot of people want to quit when that starts happening, but it's just part of the deal. We don't really care as long as that animal has a safe place to be. It's okay if it's in 3 homes over the 2 weeks before it gets an adoption. It doesn't matter. And then this is the unique animals in foster. So you can see that it's 1,000 less. There's probably 25 to 30% of the animals in foster get moved at some point. Our foster numbers in 2008, you can see actually the point of this slide is just to show that the breakdown hasn't changed very much. People want babies. And so the majority of the animals in foster are babies. And that's the lowest hanging fruit, which we'll talk about in a second.